No, no, just reconfirming. That's all. No, lunch break. Yeah.
Just.
Okay. Sir, I stand here on behalf of the NCP to speak on the Finance Bill 2021. I would like to go back to a very important and relevant point made by my earlier colleague, Shri Ritesh Pandey. He made two very, very important points, which I think this House needs to discuss. One is about disinvestment and privatizations. Let me put it on record, we are not against disinvestment and privatizations. I like to put it on go back in history that the first time in 1991, when the economy was opened up, it was the Honorable then Finance Minister, Shri Manmohan Singh Ji, who actually opened the economy, and the process of disinvestment started. And it continued when he was the Prime Minister. But I have very serious concerns because yesterday also in the debate, the Honorable Finance Minister, she gave a very detailed reply about LIC and insurance. My only question to her was, which is my personal concern, like it is Mr. Pandey's, that are we hurting the economic sovereignty of our state, of the country, at the rate we are accelerating this pace? We are not against. Nirmala ji knows my view. She was present here yesterday when I spoke. But I would like her to clarify, because it sends a signal to the nation, because like a lot of members yesterday said, that which you also repeated, that you're not selling the family silver. So if you're not selling the family silver, all the symptoms that you're showing to us are triggering us to understand so. So will this kind of investments and opening up with such large extents, like if you open like a LIC, as we explained, from 26 to 49 to 74, which is absolutely fine, but how will you aggressively stop foreign investment? I talked about not any particular country, but I'll give you a small example of China. My colleague once, Krishna Reddy, spoke about loans given by China online. And a lot of people in Andhra and Maharashtra have had huge distress issues because of these loans which are online, which were Chinese apps, which you have already banned. Now, if the Chinese app gives a certain kind of effects on our economy, will this kind of economic sovereignty be maintained if we start disinvesting at such large extents, about 74%? So if you could kindly throw some light in it, because it is very worrisome. And I think Honorable Shri Midun Reddy also asked a question that profitable entities are being sold. So why are we selling profitable entities is my first question in this bill. While he even talked about petrol and diesel, and I think that cess which you talked about, and I would like to quote you because I think you clarified in your reply then that the fund agri infra, government will impose a cess. Now, as Ritesh Pandeyji said, I won't take the time of this House, but I would like the Honorable Finance Minister to clarify, because she, in a reply in a later press conference after the budget, said the consequent of imposition of agriculture, infrastructure and development trust on petrol and diesel, basic excise duty and special addition excise duty rates have been reduced so that overall consumer does not bear the additional burden. But that is not the case, unfortunately. I'll give you a small breakup of what Delhi. Now, Delhi is 86.30. Now, the center out of which is getting 32.98 plus VAT. And the state is getting 19.92. So if you could kindly explain to the House as how you are justifying. I mean, I understand that you have reduced some, but the consumer is not benefiting out of it. So what is the solution to reduce it? And the Honorable MOS the other day in question hour said that the states should help reduce the cost. Now, states are already under, state after state, Bihar, be it Andhra Pradesh, every member from every state is talking about how badly due to the pandemic the states are doing economically. So how can we help the state? It's almost impossible. So if you could kindly elaborate on this particular topic. In the finance bill, there are 2 or 3 issues I'd like to highlight. Is in the interest of employees, EPF contribution extending over 2.5 are now taxable. In these challenging times, do we really need even this one tax to be added? If you could kindly clarify. And everybody is praising you for not increasing income tax. It's a welcome step. But at the same time, in these challenging times, maybe decreasing also could have been a solution because of the pandemic more so. And globally, taxes are going down. So why are we taking such regressive step or even stabilizing? And another, insurance payment received under unit-linked insurance policy now can be taxed as capital gain under the 2021 bill. Now, during the pandemic, can you kindly clarify why are we taxing this? Because it presently any sum received under this was exempted by the 10 into bracket 10D, where the premium payable during the term policy does not exceed 10% of the capital sum. So if you could kindly clarify what is the real logic during the pandemic more. So I understand you have to balance, there are expenses, but during the pandemic, would this really be the right decision in the larger interest of people? There is the tax incentive which is done for the International Financial Services Center. Even at that time, we've debated this bill several times together. Maharashtra should have got it versus Gujarat got it. Now that's all redundant because it's already gone to Gujarat. But we would like, because the report that time said that this would generate 10 lakh jobs, which we've not been unfortunately successful in. And year after year, I'm not objecting to giving you, but I don't want it to become a tax haven. I think even in that debate, we had all discussed this. And so I think this really needs to be looked in, that is this location of Gandhinagar in a long term going to be beneficial to have this institute there, or do we really need to move it? There's another very important intervention, which I think Nageshwar Rao ji talked about cotton, but I would like to sort of put a different point, because the other day the textile minister, when Mehtab ji asked a question during question hour, spoke about it. It's a very important point that cotton and cotton waste, now you have increased the duty of 5%, custom duty and another 5% because of the agriculture infrastructure development cess on cotton. Now the cotton industry has import extra, it has to because of long staple cotton, now, which is not available in India. It's not that we are helping our people. So what is the logic of doing this? Because it's actually hurting. Our textile industry creates thousands and thousands of jobs, and more so women. He asked for a textile park. I have a textile park in my own constituency where there are hundreds and thousands, actually 7,500 women who work there, which is under distress because of this. And I'd specifically like to, with your permission, read out that the extra long staple cotton in which India has a clear production deficit are largely imported from Egypt and US and are used for manufacturing bed sheets, fine shirts, several products which are available. And what happens is the country is already flooded with cheaper import of ready-made garments from SAFTA countries. And if this import duty comes in, how is the Indian producer? And I think they've all written to you, so I would request you to kindly relook and rethink of this particular tax. Tax devolution, which stands unchanged, but I remember in the last, when I spoke on the budget, you were very kind enough to take note of it, that during the 15th Finance Commission, Modernization Fund for Defense and Internal Security, by garnering resources from the Consolidated Fund of India. Last time I had requested you and you had assured me that you will explain to us at larger length. So maybe today is the opportunity. Because of the 15th Finance Commission, as you're aware, that 1% you very clearly explained has gone to us, is 41 now because of Jammu Kashmir. But now with this defense clause coming in, I think most states are under concern that will this be taken from our kitty? So if the states which are already under so much pressure, if we have to pay for the defense, which is completely the job of the central government, we will be under a lot of duress. So I think this is something we really need to get a clarification on as a state. Another thing is, during demonetization, the whole idea of demonetization, which the government said, was to reduce cash inflows. So we don't need that much money to be printed because everything is going to become online. Now, my question is, because this has come into the media, so if you could kindly clarify that 9 lakh crore was cash in circulation. Now, 29 lakh crores now is in circulation, and only in the last 9 months, 3 lakh crore was printed. I'm not against, I understand, I'm not an economist, but I understand a little bit of it, which explains that since you're under such pressure, you have to print money. But by printing 3 lakh crores, when the government keeps saying that you want to reduce CIC, is really this the right decision at such times? Won't it increase inflation? And which is going to hurt people and the common man in this time of the year. The other thing is the cess. Now, so many cesses, CAG has already said that 2.18 lakhs of cess is collected, which is not shared by the states. So what is, be it Swachh Bharat cess, the road cess, clean energy cess, now these all go into the consolidated fund and there's no accountability for it. So could you kindly clarify what the CAG has said? And lastly, I'll just make one small point, because of everybody's talked about their states, that our state you owe 28,000 crores right now on GST. So I appeal to you that if you could kindly give this money as soon as possible. And a small issue, which is the PMC bank issue, which is still pending because those depositors are absolutely struggling. You specifically brought a bill in banking regulation to bring in changes for the PMC bank, which is not. I know it's not concerning to this financial bill, but I took this opportunity because eventually the finance bill is for the next whole year for everybody to get their rights, put prices in place and for development. So if all the stakeholders are not included, and PMC are large stakeholders, all these depositors are very poor people, and I think we really need to address this PMC issue. I hate to keep raising it. The faster you resolve it, I'll really not have to raise it. So I urge the Honorable Finance Minister to look into our state issues and all the cooperative federalism that you talk about. I think it's really the taste in, not in just baking the pudding, but eating it. So I think the states are all in one voice asking for central government to help us. And I'm sure in this finance bill, you will control your spending and make sure all the states get their rights and bring inflation down, especially in petrol, diesel and LPG prices. Thank you.
श्री मनोज कोटक जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। इस वित्त विधेयक